Gibby, what do you got for us?
You could let's be clear about this.
You lost to $2,000. Welcome to Gus and Gawny episode. We beat Carlton by 5 points.
Yeah, I was talking more a number, 60 odd.
No, that's what it's going to be.
Okay.
It's not even going to say episode 60 odd. It's going to say we won by a couple of points.
Yep.
What an exciting game.
Far out, wasn't it?
We've had some feedback that not everyone loves the footy recap from us because we don't go into great amounts of detail. But
yeah,
I
we
feel
just
like
skim the surface.
I feel like we need to start off with the footy recap.
Yeah, it's a fair surface worth skimming this week. I feel like anyone watching or have any interest in this podcast would have been watching that game. So I think it's fair enough to get stuck into it straight off the top.
First up, we spoke about Collingwood with Jamie Elliott's goal. Like clutch goal. Clutch, apparently that's a funny word now for me to say in a post-match. Everyone
just the way you said it. That's the way you said it. That's
and then we said the helper at Collingwood, so the similar role to Gibby, got amazing shots of Jamie Elliott, was right there.
Yeah.
Gibby's positioned like in the Cozzy pocket. Cozzy sort of did it at the top of the goal square.
Yeah.
He missed an opportunity.
Me?
You missed an opportunity. You got a couple. You didn't get the whole 100 frames.
Oh, I got.
Okay, push back. Did you check his Weebly?
I didn't check the Weebly. Are they on the Weebly?
Not on the Weebly yet, okay. But I got a couple.
You're in a good spot.
Probably career best shots.
Wow.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
What do you mean, mate? How have you not seen that?
Are they on the Weebly?
They're not on the Weebly.
They're all over Melbourne socials.
Yeah, they're on Melbourne socials.
Well played. So take us in the mind.
That's a terrible take.
Of a photographer.
With
20 seconds.
Would you let me do it?
Sure.
Gee, I need to take a photo of this.
Well, photographer's a loose term. I wouldn't even call myself a photographer, but I was sitting there.
Multi-talented.
And it's funny because you're not actually watching the ball. So I didn't know if it was a goal or not. So at the time, you're just clicking away.
Yeah.
And I'd actually had a stinker. Yeah. I'd had a stinker night because it's luck of the draw. People just jump in your way. Boundary umpires run past. Players in the way. I hadn't had many.
They should know boundary
pure
umpires.
Snaps, yeah.
Hadn't had many pure snaps. And then got lucky with that one.
Got lucky. Through. Sometimes the planet's just a line, Maxi, and you get the perfect picture.
Well, apologies I didn't get to see the photo.
Thanks.
I don't know how you didn't. It was all over social media. I didn't. Honestly, my first thoughts was, geez, I didn't even know that was you. I thought that was like an AFL photographer, like a Michael C. Wilson or someone.
Well, that's well done. We're really buttering up here.
In the because it looked like it was for all intents and purposes taken by the best photographer in the game. So credit to you.
Thanks.
Which it is really like a nice little line into the wedding company.
Yes.
Like if you are going for
he's not even watching
he's not even watching
the
ceremony. He's just waiting for the shot. No boundary umpires at weddings, which is handy.
I can't remember.
Well, to be fair, I'm sure they are invited to some weddings, just not as a boundary umpire.
If you are a boundary umpire listening, you can, I'm sure you'll be invited to a wedding.
Suit up and sit
down. But if you got a really
sit down, don't run around the edges.
A really out there father-daughter dance, Gibby will capture it.
Yeah, 100%. He won't look at anything else. This is the evidence. That was an awesome photo and an awesome finish. I mean, we spoke. Did you mention Collingwood? Oh, you mentioned Jamie Elliott. Collingwood last week was a similar game. It goes down to the wire.
We're on the wrong end of that.
We're on the wrong end. So it's been an awesome week. We spoke about taking learnings away from that week. It's hard to hear that, I'm sure, as a supporter. We learned a lot, but we still lost. But I think if you watch this game, the closing sort of 5, 10, 2 minutes, you'd hopefully have seen a different Melbourne than the week before. And I think that was the reason why we got a chance to win. Because he doesn't always kick that goal. He was sort of half slipping over. Your Rick's kicking in the corridor. Sometimes that doesn't bounce.
Apparently he meant it.
Yeah, so there's all different moments that don't necessarily always come off. But as a whole, the mentality of our team was different. And we kick the goal, we win the game.
I didn't know how long was left. I knew there was 40 seconds for the boundary throw-in, so I knew there was not much time left. I saw, and then where I was positioned is I was near the bench when Cozzy kicked the goal.
Yeah.
So I went over to sort of the bench, I sat on the wing a little bit, trying to yell at Goody about how long. Goody is almost in the MCC. His headphones are on. His headphones are on level 3. So I'm sitting there going, I think there might be less than 5 seconds. But there was 11. I'm like, Goody's gone prematurely. I
remember you coming out and telling me that, and I thought, gee. I also saw the bench celebrate. I was like, that's enough time here. And then they win the clearance.
They won the clearance.
And then my man, Christian Salem,
double fist.
Decides to double fist. And in hindsight, it works perfectly. But he was telling me after the game, imagine if it goes straight to centre field instead of just hits the deck. He hooks one in and there's another mark, So early celebration. But
slightly early from the bench.
We got there.
I almost came to the centre bounce and said, "Don't worry about it, lads. Just sit down. We're fine. We're good. We're home."
Well, based on that reaction, you probably could have. But anyway, we got away and we won. And now we've got 4 days until we go to Brisbane, play Brisbane. So
I think what we have to touch on, and it is serious.
Go on, touch on it.
Is obviously the remarks that were made post-game via social media, which has become a little bit more prevalent in today's, like the last 4 weeks. I've seen it a little bit, and I'm not sure if it's from an AFL player's point of view, us trying to educate and stamp it out a whole lot more, so it's becoming a little bit more visible. But for
racism.
Yeah, to be involved in the best win and to kick the winner, and then to be at the highest pinnacle moment of your career, to then try and get brought down by the colour of your skin, I think it's appalling. And all we can do is put our arms around the players involved and obviously try and educate as much as possible as well. But it is extremely disappointing, and let the powers that be control what actually happens. But what we can do is
get on here, get the message out. I'm sure no one listening to our podcast would do any of that. That's shit house. You can bleep that out. But
I'm happy with it.
It's right. It's terrible, and in this day and age, for it to still be happening is unacceptable. So you're right. We've got a platform here. Let's use it for good. And it's crazy. It's unbelievable that stuff still comes up based on everything. All the educate. You can't educate anymore. This stuff. Everyone should know by now, as far as I'm concerned. So. Yeah, it's a shame. A real shame.
Votes from the game?
It's going to be hard to go away from Melk. I think he could get all 3 votes and get himself into...
I just want to let you know he hasn't got all 3 votes.
Wow. Interesting. Well, I'm going to give...
I want to just sharpen you up because last week... No. Last week you voted.
First.
I'm not going to go first.
You deserve to go first.
I'm going to sharpen you up.
Okay.
Because last week you just voted for Clayton. Was it Clayton because he had 40 touches?
No.
Which has got nothing to do with our trademark.
I voted Clayton because of he reminded me of Fat Nut Customs. Lots of quantity, not much quality. Sorry, Clayton and Fat Nut Customs.
Yeah, Fat Nut's a sponsor of ours. They do high quality stuff. So let's get that one out there right now. You could have gone Aubrey Wholesale Chickens.
Yep, and then they quantity, not quality as well.
No, they're quantity and quality.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that probably okay.
Nice
I was going to vote for Cozzy because I can't remember any individual moment summing up green zone termites more succinctly. He has a termite in his hand.
Yep.
And then just kicks it and it goes through. So I'm going to vote for Cozzy for green zoning that last goal.
So Cozzy gets another vote and gets himself to 3, which I'm pretty sure is tied leader. I'm voting for Melk.
Does he kick 4 goals or is there a more deep and meaningful link there?
Probably F45 Frankston comes to mind. Goes through COVID, has 2 years of not having any clients. Melky's been out of the team for a while. And then they just come back with a bang.
Haven't they gone under as like a franchise of recent? Like the whole thing has just sunk for some reason. Does that ring a bell?
Yep. Anyone? Jury's out if Melky's going that well.
My vote's actually going to get Cozzy to the leaderboard. And I actually listened to you on the radio this morning, Max. It was good quality content. And I'm giving him the vote
the podcast, mate.
Because you said that he had a lot of swag about him. And I thought that's a nice title of the podcast.
Yeah, baseline swag.
Yeah.
So Cozzy wears glasses around the club. I haven't actually asked him if he needs glasses or if he wears contacts when he doesn't wear glasses when he plays.
Yeah.
Or if he just doesn't need glasses and they look that good. I reckon it could be option C.
I think they certainly add. It's a value add if you've got glasses.
He looks good. Jordan Lewis used to do it.
Yeah. Blue lights. You can get the blue light ones. We should get a blue light glasses sponsor because they don't really, there's no lens in them that helps your vision, but you still got the added plus.
Well, we do. Cozzy yet to debut on the podcast. We actually had the man this week who recruited Cozzy.
Oh yeah.
But Cozzy,
the architect.
Cozzy is soon to come. We're sort of buttering him up.
Yeah.
Really getting him said he could be the grand final.
It's a long play though. Lingers, you know what? Lingers actually came up to me and said, "This is no word of lie. If we make the grand final, I'm keen to do it again."
Okay.
Can you believe that?
Well, he's got Duck No Dinner's got 1 vote. So he's a chance to get another one, old Ducky. Good to see him not getting in media this week. I thought that was good from the club. Just shut him out.
Which was his plan?
Who's his next go? He's gone Ross Lyon. He's gone Collingwood. Who's next for Duck No Dinner?
Drive by Gil McLaughlin on his way out. We should do obviously the Wild Sun. I know I've been terrible on the social, so I don't know if people are still sending in photos for Wild Sun. But if you can get a photo of Ed Langdon and a duck in the same frame, then we'll give you 5 vouchers to the Sporting Globe. We've got a few left over. I haven't done a great job of giving them out, but there's a five piece on the line if you can get a photo of him and a duck.
Had a Gibby in the flesh last week with a lady named Tracy, and I fully believe her. She said, I'm the only reason she listens to the podcast. So, Tracy.
Was it your nana? Is your nana's name Tracy?
Nah, she's Leslie. So it's a different lady. So
we're going for anyone with the last name Gibson. There's no Tracy.
Nah, there's none.
Okay, interesting.
Has she married out of your family? Is it your long lost sister who's now it's like Tracy Gawny, who's married one of Gawny's brothers? Is that what's happened?
No, I'm taking the compliment.
I think you add a lot to the podcast. I'm not sure what Gus thinks, but
I think you're a great helper.
Yep.
He closed the door this morning.
I found it interesting last week when I was sitting over there. Chandler was on, and Gus rated our friendship highly. We were talking. Chandler put it pretty highly, and then Gus thought he was level with Chandler. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Do you reckon he's earned it?
I think that the best friendships are formed through the fires of adversity, and boy, oh boy, have we've been through it.
We've been through some adversity.
And you were right there with me, Gawny. Don't look too hard. There was times there where the podcast was. I remember throwing polls out to the public, and here we are.
There was times where we didn't bring in a notebook at all, and just were like, we had to do this for the sake of doing a podcast. Then there was times where they wanted to get rid of us, the people in charge.
Yeah, the communist powers that be.
We got way too powerful.
Yeah.
And now there's times where we're just sitting here and we're happy, where we found our niche.
We've got the line and length.
Yeah,
it's like Glenn McGrath just found his line and length.
Our niche is very little footy and very little negativity.
Yeah, not a heap. I don't even think we've been negative. We have been negative.
Yeah, we go down there sometimes.
We sometimes go down negative lane, but we keep it generally #positive lingers. And
you got yourself a fillets yesterday. No, 2 days ago.
Called me fillets on the way out.
Yeah.
So I'm running out and the kid's like, go fillets. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I had a chicken fillet sub the day before.
We saw each other at Subway yesterday.
Wow.
Subway Cranbourne.
Subway,
Cranbourne?
We built that place pretty much from the ground up. They've just done a reno. I don't know if you've noticed.
Off the base of your footlongs.
We came in there and were caning that joint for a few months straight. And then, the powers that be, we got too powerful, pulled us out of there.
We do need to talk about young Blake Howes.
Halfway.
He's got himself a new nickname. I'm not sure if we ran through the nicknames about 6 weeks ago, if we gave Blake a nickname at the time.
Honestly, could have happened after the event.
He's halfway.
He's now called Halfway.
The other day, and we haven't talked golf for a long time. And to be fair, we probably went a bit over the top, episode 20 to 30.
That one golf. You lost the source.
I lost to Oscar Baker, and then we cut golf from the segments. Blake Howes, Halfway Howes.
Halfway.
Played 9 holes of golf.
Committed to 18.
And
said to the boys, I'm going to play 18 holes. I'll see you there, no worries. 5 minutes goes by, he's not rocked up. He's 10 minutes late, so 2 groups have played in front of him. And the boys, Taj and Knuckle, have waited for him. And, he gets to 9 holes. He's like, I can't really be bothered here, boys. And then just walks off.
And then guess where he goes?
Where?
To Subway.
Gets a 6-inch.
Oh.
Does things in halves.
Don't mind it. It's a good nickname.
Don't mind it.
No, I love the nickname.
Sorry.
Have you had a 6-inch
Anyone who orders a 6-inch
I'd probably be a 6-inch.
Yeah, he does reek like a 6-inch.
Oh, tell me that's not so.
Well, I don't play footy.
When's the last time
that's
you went to
Subway?
Subway?
Calorie intake. Got to watch your
calorie intake lower.
When's the last time you went to Subway?
Gee, it's been a while.
That's a bit expansive for your diet as well. So.
No, I'm not bad now.
Okay.
These days.
You're getting better.
Expanded.
I have.
You've been following the Christian Petraka TikTok chef advice.
Actually,
go on.
Yeah, we've spoken about this before.
There's a bit to diet.
Made the lemon cake.
You made his lemon cake?
So I don't follow, so I don't know what's been up there.
Been good.
You got a lemon cake. You got that Sledgeo, didn't you, over the weekend?
Yeah, Mark Pitnet, who we have great battles. I actually don't mind Mark. He randomly, no context at all, we're just on the wing, me and him by ourselves. He goes, "You're not even the best chef at the club." I'm like, that's weird. Like, why is he? I didn't even bring up cooking. Like, I'm not a chef. And he goes, "Track is. Have you seen Track's TikToks?"
So they're gaining momentum. I don't have TikTok, Fight the Power, and so I have no idea. But you're into a bit of expansion in your diet.
In the cooking, yeah. So Brooks probably come into my life and spiced it up a little bit in terms of cooking.
Great pun. That's a cooking pun. Spice it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I missed that.
So did you go to Subway?
Overdid the chili flakes a few weeks
Settle
ago.
down, Brooke. Bring it back.
Yeah.
But now the cooking's improved.
You got anything else?
But still, I would still go 6-inch.
Get out.
No, nothing else from me. Actually, funny, Sammy, who's our video producer, her boyfriend messaged me on Instagram last week asking me to do a Vimeo for one of his mates. So I've done the full video.
Do you mean video?
No, you know Vimeo, you can do
Oh
video
yeah.
requests.
Like Cameo. Yeah.
You were on Cameo for a bit, weren't you?
Nah.
Okay. Sorry.
And so I've done one of them, and it got me thinking: do we do a Gus and Gawny, and I'll be the rep?
Okay. There's a few things here. First of all, the boyfriend went via you. Do you know he can go through the Weebly? Just let him
There's
know.
a contact form on
Yeah,
there.
they've definitely you can get the Vimeo through the Weebly. And yes, I've always thought potentially there's a chance, but then I thought I don't want to charge our loyal
Yeah, I don't want to
fans.
monetize.
Well, to be
No.
fair, I didn't charge this person either.
Oh,
Okay. You normally, what is your flat
Oh,
rate?
yeah, it's high.
Yeah. Okay. I think track towards finals was hitting some pretty high numbers.
Yeah, he was pumping them out. So was
Okay.
Clary, to be fair.
Yeah.
My
Harmsy, we actually were
That was
trying
so
to do a stitch up of trying to get a fake profile to get Harmsy to give us a shout out on Vimeo.
didn't work.
Didn't work.
We monetize this podcast by some of our great partners. You know, you think about some awesome names like Clutch & Co.
Fat
or
Nut Custom.
Fat Nut. You know, Fat Nut Custom's got a little bit of negative pressure. Or Aubrey Wholesale Chickens. These are the people that
Yep.
tip in. We don't need to. We don't need to charge for videos.
F45 Frankston, the job now learned is not tipping in.
Yeah, it turns out they're on the way. They're on the way down.
Okay.
So we
Have to
might
talk
have
to
to
him
review
about
that
that.
list. But yeah, no, we it would be. I reckon it would pop off. But it's wild too, and it's Gibby in the flesh. It's not. We don't need that stuff.
We'll be back after this with the man that created
The architect.
the architect. He wants to be known as the
Yeah,
architect.
he did say that. Self-anointed.
And me. I'm pretty sure it's just me and T-Mac that he didn't have a role in. Well, he did have a role in me. We'll get to that. Now, Gus, we all know the team at Zurich Insurance are proud sponsors of the Gus and Gawny podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Huge supporters of the pod. I think they were our first sponsor and certainly our first platinum partner, which is a huge result.
Yes, and they've also been on board as a co-principal partner of the club since 2018 and have been protecting Australia for over 100 years.
That's right. They provide insurance for individuals and families, plus businesses large and small.
Now, Gussie, we know you're a big fan of protection, rocking your helmet at every chance you get, so this is very on brand for you.
You're absolutely right. To see how Zurich can support you, head to zurich.com.au or contact your financial advisor or broker.
Welcome back to Gus and Gawny. Before we get to the architect, we just want to thank our sponsors.
There are many. Obviously, you've just heard of Zurich there. Great for insurance.
Yep, Sporting Globe have been a venue for us.
Morty Alec,
Morty
great
Alec,
part of
which
the
we
world
love. We
too.
love Morty
Can we
Alec.
get Morty Alec on as a sponsor, just as a general
suburb,
the
yep.
suburb of Morty
And
Alec?
then we'll run through just the rest of them. Lay Day, Green Zone Termites, East End Wine Bar, Oliver
Naturally.
Lock, Squash, Fat Nut Customs, Bailey Beaker Fritz. I get the
Bailey
blog-
Fritch Electrical, bigger industrial fastener.
That's right. Cabin, Little Bridge Cafe, Nazim,
Nazim, our man.
Bondi Sticks, DJ Paul, F45 Frankston, Guzman and Gomez.
Just to watch out there on F45 Frankston, could be going under, but
Adzi Adventures Social Golf Club, Sejuna Metal Solutions,
Yep.
came on last
Naturally.
week, Aubrey Wholesale
Can't
Chickens,
forget them.
and Tongue and Groove Entertainment.
yep. So there you go.
Do you have any small
Welcome to
businesses?
the architect, Jace
Jeff?
Taylor.
Oh, I used to, JT, my air conditioning business.
You got an air conditioning bin?
JT Air, but it's
JT,
no
yeah.
longer.
That's all right.
Doesn't
We'll,
he? Yeah.
we'll still see if we can get something for JT. Yeah. See if we can get it back up and going.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be
Breathe
amazing
some
what you can
life.
do. We killed
Put some-
F45 Frankston, so we're a
Yeah.
chance to get JT.
We need
back
it.
up.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome.
The architect.
Thanks for having me.
Now,
Big Jace Taylor, sorry
you-
for everyone.
yeah.
Everyone looking at the thing will know who it is. The name goes on the title, but
do you like being called the architect?
No,
No. Okay. Okay. Do you want Tim Lamb to get the architect, maybe?
I don't think anyone should get the architect. Where did it come from, by the way?
I think we made
I
it
think
up.
I thought it was Jace.
You made it up.
I didn't
Self-anointed.
make it up. It was something on that.
You put the premiership team together, you're probably fair enough. You get to call yourself whatever you want.
Now, a lot of people couldn't get to the grand final. It was hard. It was over in Perth. We left a lot of people at home.
Yes.
Jace Taylor weaseled his way on the last flight, which I loved because he did get that list. But to see him post grand final, it was a magical moment. Did you think you weren't going to get to Perth at
You
one
must have
point
been
there?
touch and go on the last flight.
Oh, I hadn't planned for it at all.
Yep.
And it was, thanks to Purdy and Richo and whoever else, Simon, I think, really pushed for it
Yep.
to get myself and Tim over and obviously Chip and Kate. So, yeah, it was really last minute, last 24 hours. I got a phone call and said, it might be on. So,
Yep.
and I think the AFL might have helped along as well. But, it was unreal.
What was the dynamic of the Airbnb? Let's just set it up for 2 weeks quarantine. It's the Prez, the CFO, the list manager, and the recruiter. What was the dynamic like?
Yeah, it was really good because we're on a rural property, so we had a lot of space.
Yeah,
nice.
And had a swimming pool, spa. Kate would actually go for a swim every day, and it wasn't stinking hot as you blokes know, but the pool was pretty cold. But the boys wouldn't get in there, but we certainly gave the spa a run, the boys after work.
Yeah.
but it was really good. Lot of space, so you could walk the property, and the 2 weeks went really quick. We arrived on the prelim, so we watched that on the telly, and then
So if we lost, then you would just be there for 2 weeks.
No, we had that clarified before we left. Not that you would have rolled the dice anyway, but we were going to be able to come home.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, there's a reason why Lammy and Jace are in that group, because 43 of the 45, would you say, you've had a fair say in being?
Well, it's only yourself, Max, and Tommy McDonald.
So you had a say in the Harms Viney draft, or was that when you were
Harmsy was my first rookie selection.
And
Viney was the year I wasn't allowed to come across from Collingwood.
Okay, but you had a little
Viney. Yeah, no, you can count Viney.
So 42. Who else was? No one's still around from Vines draft.
No, Nev and Jonesy left last year. There were two, and Vines' draft.
Nev was very rookied in 13 as well when Harms.
So you did have a say in that. And then Salem and Harms.
Salem was your
first selection,
and Jaden Hunt.
Yep.
Hunty. Here we go.
I mean, that's recruiters have, if they do it well, do have long lifespans, and it probably isn't that rare that a recruiter has the whole list. But you're almost there. You only have to knock me and Tommy off, and it's all you.
Yep. No, I'm pushing hard at list management.
You've gone from ruck to forward, and it's not long now before you're.
I actually think Jace's got a fair say in that. I was ruck 3 weeks ago. Now I'm almost at Casey. But Jace did have a fair say in me, and I wanted to start with this, but we need to talk the fact he was over in Perth. Jace had a reason why I'm not at Collingwood.
So in a weird sort of cosmic way,
he was at Collingwood for draft camp. Back when draft camp was a thing, 3 days over in Canberra at AIS, and I had a knee reco, and I was, as the jury is out, I wasn't professional. So the jury's out.
Yeah, the jury's out. You were not. And also, you're just a different cat.
I was far from being professional at that stage. And we caught the plane, and my dad was always travelling and was a Qantas class, could get into lounge and stuff. And he was travelling the day of the draft camp. So I thought, all right, I'll go in with Dad. I'll sit in the lounge with him, and we're having a nice, beautiful breakfast in the lounge. And the Collingwood recruiters weren't too far away. They were away, but no other draft camp kid was in the lounge, which is quite obvious.
Sure.
First question from Jace: didn't want to sit with the boys in the cattle bit, and you wanted to sit in the Qantas lounge. That's interesting. And I knew I was in a bit of trouble. And then he had to go on my shoes.
Yep.
Shoes.
Yeah.
Moccasins.
And then quickly after the fourth question, I worked out I wasn't going to go to Collingwood.
So how many times did you try to trade Gawny once you finally ended up here?
What do you mean?
As in, well, clearly you don't like him.
No, none. No, I tried to get him into the senior team when he was killing it at Casey.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what was going on in that draft? You just didn't like the way he presented?
No, Max was good. He was just a bit sloppy. When we met with him as a group of how many recruiters, where there was about 8 of us probably.
Yeah, he had a big group.
It was for his own benefit, just, because we're one of 18. So I was just, if he goes to the next one, just sharpen up a bit, mate, tomorrow. So
different to mine.
It wasn't that why Collingwood didn't select him.
Why was it?
I think you had your knee, you were on crutches, and was it Trav Hines, 18th? And coming down the stairs with three beers with your crutches. I think that was the.
I didn't know.
Mate.
Well, I knew at the time that my best mate's dad was the Collingwood recruiter. But I didn't realise that coming down with 3 beers with an ACL at his 18th while his dad was watching me wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, sure.
I just wasn't going to go to Collingwood. I think we worked that out pretty quick.
As opposed to my experience with Jace was the last time we sat down, I don't know if you remember, was at the Brown Cow.
I do remember.
And he pretty much said, I'm paraphrasing, but the sentiment's just about the same. As long as you don't kill someone or drink drive or break any laws, it's going to be okay.
You're coming to Melbourne.
I didn't say that.
No,
couldn't say
that, but he said, just don't break any laws, don't drink drive or something like that.
Yeah. So you're pretty confident McCardin was going?
Oh, we had no idea. We just put our list together, and we're probably reasonably confident of that. But you never know. You hear stories that it might have been Angus at one, and you just don't know. You just got to prepare your list as it is. But I always like to try and, same with, I think just about everyone I've drafted, particularly early, I like to meet them just before it, just to make sure, because you're always a bit nervous, particularly with blokes like Gus.
Can you tell Angus now to his face why you chose track first?
That's what I want to know, because one of my questions was the last game of the TAC Cup season, in season was Eastern Rangers track versus Sandy Dragons. Yeah. We just smashed him. Awesome game. I was all over him. Had 30 and kicked a few.
Yeah.
Three
Not
maybe.
always about
30
numbers,
and 3.
But,
but just put track firmly in his place.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would have been I don't know why. I heard he came up to you pre-round, his manager, and said, you got to take him too, otherwise he's not coming.
It wasn't alphabetical, was it? Because it's Angus
clearly.
Brayshaw. Yeah, so I can't say that. I've got no real comment on that, mate.
Straight down the line. I like it. I want to go through some of the steals.
That's why I was. So we mentioned Hunty.
Hunty's a steal.
What'd you get him? 56?
57.
Sure. So these are the lists, and there's more, but these are the ones that I've sort of written down. Sparrow, Petty, Jordan, Spargo, Rivers, Hunt, Harms, Chandler, Bedford, Neil Bullen, Fritsch. If you wanted to add any more, you can, but those names are all outside the 30, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Maybe Spargo might have been
29
in just. That's good memory for me as well.
It is.
You're starting to get a bit of a knack for picking these kids late in the draft. Is that something that you hold your hat on more as a recruiter? Because there's always this theory that anyone can find the Brayshaw, which I'm sure you're against because it still is an art to pick the right person at the high pick. But to get those guys late that are half them are premiership players, if not more, is that the one that you hold your hat on?
I think they're all. I don't know. It's not like it's just a party line, but they're all important. So if you don't get the early ones right, you're in trouble. And that'll put a real dent in trying to build a premiership list. But I think they're all important. And you should be. We've got a really good team of recruiters and staff throughout the country, and we put a price on every pick.
Yep.
To be honest, like we think that every pick we select is going to be an AFL player and one of quality. And I think our process lends to that. And the guys you mentioned there, they're all good characters.
Yep. How many in the books around the country? How many recruiters do we have?
Yeah, well, it's been cut significantly through COVID. So where there'd be, say, 3 in South Australia, there's now really 1 officially. And some guys to help out every now and then. We're trying to recapture that. Victoria's been really sliced as far as part-timers. Obviously, we had Darren Farrugia and we lost Fudge. And who I saw on the weekend, Fudge, actually, he's going well. He's now working at the Bombers. So there's me, Lammy, Cal, Pato.
Yep.
And then, guys do a little bit of just help us out in Victoria, no one official. Do you know what I mean? So where there used to be about 6 or 7 of them.
Yep.
Which, you miss that part of it because we'd have our monthly meetings and have a pizza and go through stuff and all that, and it was a really good great. But those guys are all part of the premiership, like.
Yep.
And we've looked after them in that sense. But it's dwindled a little bit. We've got 2 in WA, but that's it.
We draft a few WA boys. They must be doing a good job.
Yeah. No, the boys over there, they've been really vital too through when we couldn't fly. But as I said, our guys throughout the country, they're excellent.
They were the only ones playing footy for a while there, WA.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
No one doing any work. So who are you most proud of? I mean, Hunty at 57 is a fair snag. Is he the best of all your roughies?
I don't know.
I've got my opinion.
I haven't really thought about it.
You must have.
I've got a soft spot for Harmsy because he's a Melbourne man. Like
pick 1 rookie draft.
Yeah, he's
pick 2.
Pick 2.
Yeah, he's a proud demon.
Yeah, he
growing
is.
Up. So
sorry, I forget him because he was in the rookie draft.
Yep.
I don't know why I did that. He's up.
Hunty's done well.
Yeah,
some good moments in the last quarter. Yeah, didn't he? Driving his legs.
I'm a little bit higher up in the 30s, but Bailey Fritsch.
Yeah, he's got to be there.
That's a story.
Yeah, Bailey Fritsch is an interesting one. Like when you do my job, I remember watching him his play come back from, because he had a lot of injuries, a lot of back, and he was light, and we wanted to rookie him a couple of years prior, but we just didn't have any confidence in his body. And I remember him coming out, his comeback game, reserves out of Coburg, cold, wet morning, and he's playing on the wing actually, and he's just one of those, you get a bit of a shiver when you do my job, just his running patterns and his smarts and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that kind of put him back on the radar. We didn't take him that year, but then he comes out and he has the year he does at VFL. Like he had a pretty good year.
Yeah.
How many hours are you putting in? Like we had a conversation yesterday. You had 14 hours of watching footy over in SA on the weekend.
14 quarters of footy I watched on Saturday.
Oh.
Yeah. So
and that's a regular occurrence. At this time,
well, that was a big day.
Yeah.
I just if I give you a snapshot of that weekend, Friday I flew in to Adelaide, straight to a home interview, back-to-back home interviews, then straight to Norwood Oval for games of footy, and then up Saturday in that 14 quarters and got back to the hotel room with 13 minutes to go of our game, and
it was a good time to tune in.
Yeah, good time to tune in. Well, yes or no.
And then
in the end, it was, mate. But
and then down to Casey yesterday.
Yeah, flew back. I got up at 5 and flew back and went to Casey. Yeah, so that's a big weekend. But no, it's on in earnest at the moment, all year really. But this weekend coming up, there's a Friday night game, 2 on the Saturday, then 2 in Bendigo on the Sunday. So it's pretty full on.
Is that the hardest thing about the job?
Travelling away from family is the hardest thing, I reckon. Yeah. And it probably doesn't stop in your mind a bit too. So,
but you have the draft, and then what you get that's when you take your time off there.
Massive, yeah. So get a really good break.
They do this thing which I love, and I poke holes in it all the time. But they draft their kids, and then there's this thing called the handover. Which after about a week of the kids being drafted, there's this official handshake from Jace to Goody. And then apparently, if the kid goes no good from there, it is Goody's fault. Yeah. So it's the handover. We've brought you talent, over to you guys.
Yeah, sure.
Which I love. So which means anything that hasn't worked can't be put on you.
No, I actually probably worse the other way. Really, the coach. But anyway, we're lucky we got Simon because he's a ripper. So.
I thought you were going to say your favourite bit, which is actually my favourite bit, is when you stand up in front of the group and here you go, here's the new kid. And it's not always a draftee, it's a trade.
Yep.
So my favourite one of all time is when Jake Lever gets traded to the club and Jace gets up. Yeah, this is Jake Lever. He's obviously, defender from the Adelaide Crows. We also see him a bit like Nath Fyfe.
That wasn't in that.
So there's the comparison. I mean, we've talked through some of your wins. You've had
apart from centimetres, what Nat Fyfe quality does he have?
You've had some big wins.
Well, no, he's tall.
Yeah, so centimetres.
Sorry, I didn't get that bit. He's tall, and I watched him at training the year he was drafted. I drove out to Highgate because he hadn't played much. Do you know what I mean? And he did a couple of good handballs in a midfield drill. So that's about
so Fyfey.
Fyfey.
Oh boy. We talking about some good stuff. It's only fair that we just bring in some of the Fyfes of the world.
We had a year, and I forget who the player was. We traded someone in from Christian Salem's draft, and Jace got up and said, "We tried to take you off our first pick, but you weren't there," which is basically saying we would have taken you over Salem.
What did that mean?
I forget
only 8 blokes.
You're also big on talent that you saw that went to a different club because he missed out on a pick. You're also keeping a close eye on them. And for example, Pat McKenna was one of them that you were interested in. You must be that disappointed that you don't get it. And then you stick around for 2 or 3 years and just hope that you're a chance to still get him.
Yeah, 100%. And Jake Lever's exactly that.
Yeah.
Well, he was in the mix in Angus's draft.
Yeah.
So we probably had him around just behind them.
Yeah.
So, we're pretty keen to get him back, and you've got to keep those relationships going. And but I actually met with Jake prior to the draft, which I haven't really done this before, because we had a bit of a connection and kind of just without saying it, the same with you, but saying that it won't be happening, which was disappointing for him. But I think because you've been able to create that relationship, it helps in the return to Melbourne as he has. So, but yeah, does that answer that? Or
that
pretty well. I can't get past the 5.
You know that you I was just on positional stuff with yourself, like that. That when you played in New Zealand, remember that you played halfback.
Yeah, I do.
Halfback, best on ground.
Yeah,
I had to do the votes.
Did you really?
And I gave you best on ground. You didn't get it.
Who did?
I don't know. I can't remember. They just didn't take my votes too serious, I don't think.
You
did play halfback flank, you know that, don't you?
Yeah, no, I do. It turns out I actually do know I can play halfback.
Your junior football haunts you a lot. The first 3 years, every time you played a bad game, Roosie would always go, "Gus, in under 16, 17s, I used to watch you. You used to have 30 and 2. Where is that?" And you're like, it's under 16s. This is seniors. This is hard yakka.
Yeah. No, I do know that, Jace, turns out. I been floating around there this year, mate, so good to see. It's like riding a bike halfback. Actually, no,
so right now, where we sit, there's finals to go, obviously in Tuck Cup. Carnival footy's done. You'd have a rough idea of what, in your head, your top 20 looks like, wouldn't you?
I've got a rough idea, but it'll change dramatically between now and the draft. Like, because there's still a fair bit of footy to be watched because there's, guys they'll have been injured, coming back, fluctuate with their form. But I've got a fair idea. Just got to put all the pieces together. We've got to go through all the further interviews, site profiling, reference checks. The combine will be on, but that's not a big deal, except from a medical standpoint.
I was as nervous as anything going before the combine. Yeah. It's not that big of a deal.
We'd like to see, guys, have a crack. That's it. It's a long year. It's a tough year. It's you're not expecting them to shoot the lights out. To be honest, you've seen them play footy enough, and do you know what I mean. So it's a tiny, like we do the interview process there as well, but it's more get the coach in front of certain players, really. Simon's actually really good at trying to come on. He likes to come on a country run with us, which not many coaches I don't think would do. But he just to even interact and have a feed and a beer with us, that night after doing some country interviews, home interviews, and that. So, but the interview process is reasonably important in that facet of the combine, but the testing. It's just you like to see guys do the 2K and have a go. Yep. Do you know what I mean?
They should just cut everything else out then.
And just do the 2K. Just have a crack.
I agree.
Do you still torment kids in the meetings?
No, I've never been like that. I think you.
Have you been involved in some meetings where someone does? Because I think Roosie was someone who potentially could have done it.
Yeah. He did. Yeah. That was at the combine.
Yep.
But it's never been my style. I'll go from here to a home interview now. I don't think you get to know the person if you. I just like to open it up to them, and I don't like to really criticise them. I like to know if they've got self-awareness, which is so important.
Yep.
So if you're criticising them, you're not going to pick that up. So
we'll finish unless you have anything.
No.
I had an interview with Adelaide as we've already talked about. My draft camp wasn't great, and the Adelaide one, Neil Craig was sitting behind me, so I wasn't allowed to look at him. There's 7 recruiters and Neil Craig behind me, so I'm not even facing him. And he asked me a question, sort of halfway through, and said, "Maxie," I looked at him. He goes, "Face the front. Let's just say, little ruck rover. He's pushing you around. He's calling your names. He's getting into you. Little ruck rover, tiny fella. But the umpire's right there. What would you do?" I said, if the umpire's right there, I probably wouldn't want to give away a free kick, so I'd maybe push him back and then try and follow the ball. He gets up, throws his book in front of me and goes, "Oh, my ruckman's hit the prick." I'm like, imagine if I had said hit him. He would have gone, you would have given away a free kick, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
he was just there to torment me no matter what. And I'm glad I got a little bit of those old boomer coaches. Choco was tormenting me in the Port Adelaide one.
Of course he was. I've heard some absolute rippers from Choco.
Yeah. So I think
what value do you see any value in it, or?
I don't. I didn't go to those clubs, probably because how I reacted to it. But no, I was scared. And then all we do at Combine is talk about it, and all the players are talking about it. So then players are going in scared to the Adelaide one, going, "I've heard this story about Craigie," and then you probably don't get the true person, do you?
No, you don't. No, you don't, because everyone's talking, you'll have an answer formula. You're trying to manufacture an answer.
Correct.
So it sounds good, but that's why it's no value in it.
Last question from me before we go. I said last question before, but I've just thought of an extra one. The age-old question: do you draft? Let's say you got pick one. Do you pick the most talented player, who's going to be Gary Ablett Jr., or do you pick what we need, who is the most talented of what we need? Let's say we need a fullback, and you go, he's the best tall back in the.
And if it's not at pick one, if you just pick the best talent, at what point does that paradigm shift? At what point does that change?
Yeah, well
the best example is probably Dogger.
Yeah.
I'm speaking about my own position, but it looked like at the time we didn't need another ruck, but he was easily the best talented of that pick.
Yeah. So that's right. So that's the direction we went in. So it's a balancing act, really it is, not to sit on the fence, but if you're picking at one, you've got to take the best player. Yep. If there's not much in it between a midfielder and a tall forward and you need a tall forward, well, then you probably need to take the tall forward if you need one, do you know what I mean? So it is really a balancing act, but you don't want to, you don't want to overlook Angus Brayshaw, It's just for a need.
The Jake Lever.
There you go, Rick.
Fifey.
They just picked the best player, Rick.
Yeah,
Sorry.
mate. It just works out like that.
Sorry, I should have said Christian Petrarca. He went first.
Chase. Well, mate, thanks for coming. The Architect, we'll get that one going. We've got a heap of social media power. So next time, I got called Phillits. Were you here for that? Some kid called me Phillits on the way out because we told on this podcast last week the story of I ate 4 chicken fillet subs in one sitting for $100 once.
If you went to Subway, would you buy a foot long or a 6-inch?
6.
Oh.
Get out of here. Anyway, so
I
next
don't
time.
like Subway. Do you know what? I don't want to put. Are they a sponsor?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
We're
Okay.
working on it. Not
Oh,
yet.
I like eating the Subway, but it's the smell of the shop when you come up to it.
Gus Gawny actually sponsors
Yeah,
Subway
we sponsor
Cranbourne.
South Cranbourne Subway.
Sorry, Subway.
Yes. Awesome. You've been awesome, mate. Thanks for coming on. The Architect will now officially be. We'll get that one up and going.
You got a meeting at midday. Go torment this kid. Go get him.
Yeah, get stuck into him.
All
Thanks,
good,
guys.
boys. Appreciate it.
No, you're right.
Thank you.
Hooroo.
All right.